A friend asked me if I would build a truck for him from those parts that you see there and basically following the way he has it kind of taped together for an idea of what he wanted. Now, this is based on the Thunder roller casting that you see in the front. Notice those wheels are kind of big, where on the actual Thunder roller, they're pretty small. So I knew this was going to be a challenging build. And I knew, well, I don't do commission builds. Everybody knows that. Anybody that knows me has probably heard me say that way too many times. But I think I'm pretty clear about it. But I wanted to do this. And I knew it would be difficult for me because I don't do well when I try and build to what someone else's idea is. I have a hard enough time building to my own ideas. so trying to hit somebody else's idea is really tough for me. So he sent me a bunch of other stuff too. And so I built a Python really quickly for him because I wanted to do something good. And I wasn't sure how this was going to go. And so I did that about 4 months ago. That's how long I've had this. I had to grind down the fifth wheel you see there, and I'll make more comments on the video as we go along, but some of it's pretty obvious. And yeah, you've seen me use JB Weld before, and there I had tacked that back piece on with crazy glue, and now I'm just making it more solid with JB Weld. But anyhow, I had a huge mental block on this build, and it was very challenging for me to do. And I think a lot of builders put a lot of pressure on themselves, especially when they try and do commission builds or try and hit someone else's target. There's enough pressures out there with YouTube, and we've seen a lot of builders leave the hobby or at least leave YouTube this year, and I think you need to build for yourself and on your own timeline. And if there's some builders God bless them, they can build to a deadline. They can build, builds for people to spec with no problem. And then there's others that, sometimes some of the comments on the videos will set them off, and Lord knows there's some very rude comments that can be made on videos sometimes. I think we've all seen it, and fortunately I've dealt with a lot of stuff on the internet over the years where I can pretty much ignore it. It doesn't bother me, but I know some people it does bother, and it just adds to the difficulty. But anyhow, you see I'm moving along here on the build, and I've attached the back piece to the cab of the Thunder Roller, and now I'm trying to get those oversized wheels on the back half as well. And so I ended up putting axle tubes all the way around, and those are larger, kind of almost seem to be like about 1/24th scale wheels that are going on here. So one of the things that was promising about this build was that he likes the color lime ice. Definitely a plus. And to be completely honest with you, this build does not go perfectly. There are some flaws here and there that, well, I'm not going to tell you about. There you see me sliding some toothpicks into the axle tubes I put in the back, and you'll see why here in a second. And apparently all toothpicks are not created equally, because 2 of them wouldn't go into that axle tube, but the third one magically did. I suppose I could have sanded one down to get it in there, but yep, there you see why. Even though the axle tubes are there, I didn't want any of the JB Weld getting into the ends of the axle tubes. And it was comforting to know that, with those toothpicks in there, it shouldn't get in there. Worst case, I could easily, drill out the toothpick if I had to. I did create a plastic base for under the cab of the Thunder Roller. Lord knows why, because of the side tanks. They block any view up there pretty much. But I don't know. This was a challenge, and I was really honored that he asked me to do it, and so I really wanted to do it. And it also, what I've learned from this build is I can't do these builds. I truly do need to build to my vision. And let's just leave it at that, because I can take a theme and build to a theme, and I can hit deadlines pretty well. But I think there's this fear of disappointing someone as well. And I didn't want to do that with this build. This build is important to me. And so hopefully he likes the end product. That flatbed portion had a slide bar built on the bottom. Whatever it went to originally, apparently it slid back and forth. There was no way in hell I was going to try and recreate a sliding bed on this thing. And yeah, they call me JB Weld Silva for a reason. I wasn't too concerned about the looks of the underside of this vehicle. And that actual panel that you see me covering there, you don't even see under this thing because the fuel tanks block it. But I don't know. I just got in my head on this one. So anyhow, I did have to obviously chop down some sections. That piece that you see me working on there, I cleaned off in super clean. The mud flap section here, Lord knows what this came off of, but I needed to narrow some sections. And this was a little nerve-wracking because it's a thin piece of plastic. And I just had this feeling it was going to crack on me. Fortunately, it did not. And I made it so that it would press fit into that gap at the back of the rig. So truly, it's just a press fit in there. And I just decided at the front of the flatbed, I was going to put just a rail. And that's what that is. I didn't put a light bar or anything like that because I saw this as being a private vehicle, not a rig for hire, but one that's just privately owned to carry someone's own cars. And so I just put that rail there. It's just a block. And then you see on the left there, I got a winch off of another Hot Wheels tow truck. Cut the winch section off of that. Lord knows, I have probably 5 or 6 of those little winch sections just laying around. I'm not sure why. I don't think I have that many tow trucks that are missing them. So, and maybe one of these was in the box of stuff that he gave me, because he sent me a big box of stuff. It has all kinds of castings, some of which will be appearing in the Silva Challenge boxes. Hopefully you've been watching that. That's going to be a lot of fun watching what other builders do with boxes oh crap that I send them. So I ended up making these little chunks of plastic. Even though I took that back section of the rig to the grinder and grinded down the fifth wheel, I made the fifth wheel portion level with the front area of that back half. And there were 2 lower sections, so I decided to just cut a couple small pieces of plastic that you're seeing here and use them as keys on the bottom of the flatbed section so that they would help me align it later when I go to permanently mount this to the frame. I apologize now if I've been rambling a lot during this video. It is a long video. Hell, we're not even halfway through it yet. But Excuse me. Anyhow, yeah, things are interesting right now. So this has been hanging over me for a while, and truly I do apologize to my friend that this has taken just so damn long to get done. But it'll be heading out to you soon. It won't make it there by Christmas, but part of me doesn't want to put it into the Christmas mail system anyway, with all of the other packages that are out there right now. So it's probably a good idea not to. So there you see, I just put super glue on the top of those keys, and then I'm just putting the bed on top of it temporarily. And then what I end up doing after I set that down there and let that super glue set is I end up pulling that bed back off, and the keys go with that bed. They're stuck to the bottom of the bed. I did need to clean up the casting and obviously some of the JB weld that's on there. That's one of the downsides of using so much JB weld, is you have to clean up so much JB weld. As I mentioned earlier, he likes lime ice. So that is the direction this will be going, and hopefully he's going to see this video, and so even though it isn't in the glamour shots, I am including another vehicle in the shipment to him. And that vehicle happens to already be lime ice. It's from a build that I did earlier this year. And it just looks damn good on the bed, even though I didn't include any pictures here. I had already completed the video section of this YouTube video. So there you see it. There's the casting all cleaned up, ready for paint, primer and paint. I did use a Rust-Oleum primer, or excuse me, a Duplicolor primer on there. The mud flap section I end up throwing in super clean because I got to get rid of that chrome. And so I'm just showing here in this little section. What I do to a lot of things is I'll wrap wire around them. Same thing when I throw things into the paint stripper, is I'll go through, say, a window on the car or something like that, run a wire through it. And particularly with the stripper, when I pull it back out, I pull it up a ways, still in the jar, but where it's out of the stripper itself, and let the stripper drip off. And so, Lord, I think I only added a fresh stripper to the jar once this year. So it really helps stretch a jar of stripper as well. Mask that thing off, because what I end up doing, I end up painting that back half and underside black. And then I paint the cab, the lime ice, Tester's Extreme Lacquer lime ice. Did add a bunch of little details here and there, and I did that outside of the video itself because, like I said, it's a long video, and I didn't want to make everybody suffer too much watching me paint little tiny details. That's after I primered. That's black primer on there right now. And there were seam lines on the sides of the fuel tanks that I needed to do a little bit more work on. So I scraped them and then painted over that. Scraped, sanded, and then painted. That is lead belcher, in case you're curious. Those of you who have watched Outlaw Speed Shop, you've heard that word before. There it is after the lime ice and after the clear coat. I decided I wanted to do the clear coat before adding the details. The lime ice is a lacquer, and so I used a Tester's, I believe it is also Extreme Lacquer, but it is a lacquer ultra clear coat. I did use the Sharpie on areas and the Molotow pen to chrome areas. Here I don't know what I was thinking, but I decided I wanted to put a couple rhinestones at the very tail end of that bed, the flatbed section, because that area sticks out so far. It'd be tough for lights underneath to be seen. And so I did a little checking online. I did see where some lights are at the ends of flatbeds. So I just threw those rhinestones on there. The video makes it look a lot easier than it actually was. And then I love going over the rhinestones with the testers or with the Tamiya clear paints. This is the clear red, but I've also used the clear blue, the clear orange, and the clear yellow before over these rhinestones. And it looks so nice because you still have the reflectivity of the rhinestone, but it just tints it. I just love the effect of that. And what would a build be without Gauzy? Gauzy, Gauzy, Gauzy. I do a very brief chunk of a Gauzy section here because I couldn't go without it, but yet it added, if I had gone the whole thing, it'd be another minute to the video. So that's all the Gauzy you're going to get. So those of you who are still playing the Gauzy game, at least you got your shot in. And the assembly for this one is obviously a lot different than other videos where you just drop the top half on the chassis and throw the screws in and you're done. Yeah, that's not the way this one went. This one, because of the large wheels and the way they attach to that axle, I was able to get the wheels off one end of the axle. I left the other end as it came from the manufacturer. And so then I just used CA glue on one end and put those wheels on that way. And it seemed to work out well. The axle tubes are in far enough and the CA glue's at the tip of the axle, so it worked out well where the wheels do roll. That was, a concern at first, and then thinking about it, I saw how it was going to work out. I did have to cut the axle shorter. I did that away from the video. I needed them to be the right width and to match. The back ones were obviously far easier than the ones under the cab, because under the cab, back here I had all the room in the world. And under the cab, I was trying to replace those really small wheels on the Thunder Roller with obviously much larger ones. As provided. Excuse me again. It's tough to narrate a video for this long. Oh, I have to say it is nice to see that I finally completed this project. Because honestly, it has been hanging over me and I've felt guilty about it taking so long. There you see, I did put quite a bit of detail in the center section. Null and oiled the radiator section. I null and oiled the stacks. I did use Tamiya orange on the front turn signal area. The headlight section is Molotow chrome. And then the rest of it is just Sharpie silver on the front bumper area. And it just got to the point to gluing those wheels on. And there were some things that came back to bite me in this area of the build. And I needed to trim up a little bit more. Even though I had fit and refit and fit again, when you're doing a project, at least when I'm doing a project like this with far too many areas of customization to them, it seems like I overlook something in the process. And so that's one of the little flaws that I'm not mentioning. But it's one of those things where you fit and refit, fit and fit, and then you go to final assemble and it's, what the hell? But all the wheels turn that amaze me. The ones under the cab still, I think that was more dumb luck than anything. That they actually fit under there with enough trimming, and yet it still has the complete interior. I did detail the steering wheel, and I painted the seats gray, not that you see them at all, unless you look just right. But there you get a feel for where we end up, and now it's just the bed needs to still go on. Well, the bed and the mud flaps. So there's the flaps. And like I said before, those are just a press fit in there. And honestly, I don't know if that back section, I don't know what rig that is off of. But I don't know if those flaps came off of that original rig as well. But they are just a press fit in there that seemed to work really well. But they did have to be filed down to fit. So obviously, they aren't apparently from the original casting that was off of. But something really damn close. And now it's just a matter of using those keys to help adhere that. And then for the final thing, I decided it was too shiny with those wheels, so I hit them with a little Nuln oil. The wheels, I think it looks interesting. I think the scale's kind of peculiar in a way because of it, but I still like it. So there you see where we started. And here's where we ended up. So I hope you like this build. It's definitely different. It's definitely a challenge. And for my friend that asked me to build this, thank you for this challenge. And thank you for the opportunity and all of the kind words. Thank you for also not putting any pressure on me whatsoever to get the build done within any time frame. I do truly appreciate that. And it allowed me to finish it when I could wrap my head around it. So I hope you like it. Here's some glamour shots coming up. And everyone, thank you for all of your support this year and sticking with me through these videos. Good, bad, and everything in between. And I hope you've had a good year. Really looking forward to the next year. Thank you so much to my Patreon members for all of their support. Everybody stay safe and healthy out there, and I'll catch you in the next one.